A 14-year-old boy leaves his house on a summer evening in Belfast. He's got his bike, his helmet, his rucksack. He tells his mom he's heading up to Cave Hill to meet some friends. Normal Saturday, normal kid, normal plan. 30 minutes later, CCTV cameras are tracking him through the city. But something is already wrong. He falls off his bike, gets back up, keeps riding. Then, on camera, he starts shedding his belongings, his rucksack, his phone, his jacket, his shoes. By the time the final camera catches him, he is completely unclothed, moving through a residential street in North Belfast, heading toward a narrow stream at the edge of someone's backyard. And then, he's gone. His name was Noah Donohoe. He was 14 years old. The official conclusion was drowning. But here's what the inquest, which has been running through 2026, has revealed. Police missed him on CCTV filmed minutes before he vanished. A rear-facing camera that may have captured what happened next was never properly reviewed. His Instagram was locked by someone using an email that closely resembled a local family's address, a family that denies doing it. His green coat has never been found, and no one, to this day, can fully explain what happened to Noah Donohoe in those final 30 minutes. This is that story. Noah Peter Donohoe was born on November 25, 2005 in Strabane, County Tyrone, Northern Ireland. He lived with his mother Fiona in South Belfast. He attended St. Malachy's College, one of Belfast's most respected Catholic grammar schools. By every account, he was the kind of kid who made an impression. Curious, warm, intellectually hungry. He was into philosophy, music, languages. He had a fear of the dark so profound that when he died, his family chose cremation specifically because of it. That detail, a 14-year-old boy, afraid of the dark, found in a pitch-black underground tunnel, is one this story never fully escapes. In the weeks before he disappeared, something had shifted in Noah. His mother Fiona noticed it. He had become unusually emotional, more affectionate than normal, hugging her more often, telling her he loved her. He'd become absorbed in a book, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. He was sending messages to a close friend about his emotions, about wanting to be more honest with himself. Fiona told the inquest she had been extremely concerned about his mental health in that period. She noticed a word written in different handwriting in his homework diary, the word gay, and worried he might be being bullied. But his friend, the one who received those messages in the days before he vanished, told the inquest he didn't find them alarming. He said Noah had seemed positive the last time they'd met, that the conversations about the book, about life, felt reflective, curious, not desperate. On the morning of June 21st, 2020, Noah left home once already. At 3:34 a.m., he was wearing flip-flops, a t-shirt, shorts. He was carrying headphones. CCTV caught him heading in the direction of Queen's University. At 4:08 a.m., 34 minutes later, he came back, barefoot, no headphones. Where had he gone? What had he done with his shoes? Nobody knows. He said nothing about it. He went back to bed. And then, at 5:40 that afternoon, he left again. Noah left home for the second time on a bicycle. He had his rucksack, his helmet, his jacket, his trainers. He told Fiona he was going to Cave Hill to meet friends. It was a Father's Day Sunday in Belfast, June 21st, 2020, long summer light. CCTV picked him up in Belfast city centre, heading north. He was on the road, then the footpath, weaving through the urban grid, moving normally. At approximately 5:59 p.m., something happened. He fell from his bicycle on North Queen Street, close to where it meets York Road. A woman in a car witnessed it. She described it as a fairly bad fall. He got up quickly, brushed his knee, and rode on. She told the inquest she never said he struck his head. A motorist who passed moments later said he looked startled, but didn't appear injured. A resident in Northwood Crescent briefly saw him cycling past and adjusting his helmet straps. She later found the helmet discarded near a lamppost. Another driver reported watching him sway on the bike several times as he continued along North Queen Street. Something was wrong. Whether it was the fall, whether it was something else, something was wrong. As Noah moved into the residential streets of North Belfast, York Road, Skegonhill Avenue, Northwood Crescent, he was shedding himself piece by piece. His rucksack was gone. His phone was gone. His jacket, his shoes, his helmet. At 6:08 p.m., a CCTV camera captured the last confirmed sighting of Noah Donohoe. He was on Northwood Drive. He was unclothed. He left his bicycle at the end of a cul-de-sac and walked toward a small stream behind a nearby residence. The stream led to a culvert inlet, a storm drain, on land owned by the Department for Infrastructure. The inlet was covered by a metal grill. It was not padlocked. The bars were spaced widely enough for an adult to pass through. Hey, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, please do that right now. We cover cases exactly like this, complex, unresolved, and important, every single week. Hit subscribe. It's free. And now, back to Noah. Now here's where this case breaks your heart in a completely different way. After Noah disappeared, police began collecting CCTV from the area. That's standard. That's what you do. And a constable, Constable Day, reviewed footage the day after Noah disappeared, including footage from the Grove Wellbeing Center on York Road and from a funeral director's nearby. He did not identify Noah on either recording. Here's the problem. The inquest in 2026 showed that the Grove Wellbeing Center camera would have captured the main road, the front of the building, and the entrance to Skegonhill Avenue. That camera covered exactly the path Noah took, minutes before he vanished. Counsel for Fiona argued that Day had simply missed him. Day replied, "I didn't see him on the footage I viewed." Justice Rooney, the coroner, said it plainly. It was missed. It is quite clear it was missed. And then there were the timestamps. The CCTV footage had timing discrepancies, clocks that didn't match up, which can affect whether you correctly identify someone in a sequence. Constable Day admitted he had not checked the timestamps. He agreed that checking timestamps would be, in his own words, pretty fundamental policing. The funeral director's footage? It no longer exists. There was also a house at the end of Northwood Road with two cameras, a front-facing one and a rear-facing one. Officers attending the scene reviewed the front footage on a mobile phone. The rear camera, the one that might have captured what happened near the stream, near the culvert inlet, was not examined in detail at the time. One inspector said he viewed it briefly and didn't believe it would show anything useful. He thought a fence would have blocked the view anyway. The inquest later showed a reenactment of what that camera might have captured. There appears to have been movement, possibly a figure. Two constables who attended Northwood Road that evening told the inquest they did not look for CCTV at all during the initial search. One said his priority was finding a missing boy who was naked and had gone into a dense wooded area. Nobody thought to ask what cameras are pointed at this exact spot where a boy just disappeared. While police were searching above ground and coordinating resources, the night around Northwood Road had sounds in it that nobody connected until much later. A woman on Premier Drive told the inquest she heard someone try her back door handle in the middle of the night, around 3 a.m. on the morning of June 22nd, the night after Noah was reported missing. She described the noise as really, really loud and hard. She hid. She thought someone was trying to break in. She didn't know Noah was missing. She didn't call police. A second resident from Premier Drive told the inquest she heard two screams in the early hours of that same night. She went downstairs to alert her husband. He also heard what he described as a muffled scream, though he couldn't tell exactly where it came from. He later woke around 3 a.m. and saw a brief white flash outside, which he assumed was a flashlight. A third resident on Northwood Parade heard a single high-pitched scream, sudden, loud enough that she immediately looked out a window. She was, she said, pretty confident it was a human voice. Officials later confirmed there was no walkable route from the culvert to Premier Drive. So what do those sounds mean? Nobody can say for certain, but a boy was in that drain, in the dark, alone, terrified of the dark. Noah Donohoe's body was found on June 27, 2020, 6 days after he disappeared. He was in a storm drain, a culvert, 625 meters downstream from the inlet where he was last seen heading. 625 meters. That is nearly 4/10 of a mile. Underground, in darkness, in freezing tidal water, through silt that, as one search specialist described it, sucks your feet under. The tunnel runs downhill from Linear Park, passes Seaview Football Stadium, continues alongside the M2 motorway, and ends at a TransLink depot. That's where Noah was found, at the far end of an underground passage that specialized searchers described as completely black, with pockets of gas, debris, and tidal flows from Belfast Lough. One member of the search team became emotional when describing what the tunnel was like. He said it was heartbreaking to consider what Noah would have faced. Naked, alone, in a pitch-black tunnel with freezing water continually coming over you. In a space that at points required going on all fours. A boy who was afraid of the dark. The pathologist told the inquest that the injuries on Noah's body, bruising, abrasions to the knees and elbows, a significant bruise to the forehead, were consistent with falls and stumbles inside the drain. She believed death most likely occurred within hours of his disappearance, around the time of high tide, which came between 11:30 p.m. and midnight on June 21st. She found no evidence of third-party involvement. The toxicology came back negative. No drugs, no alcohol. But the toxicologist was careful. He told the inquest that toxicology cannot cover every possible substance. Synthetic cannabinoids, like the drug known as spice, exist in hundreds of forms. Many are not covered by standard testing panels. Some substances break down within hours of death. The samples were analyzed days after the body was recovered. He said Noah's behavioral changes that evening, shedding his clothes, the apparent disorientation, the falls, could be consistent with spice or a similar substance. But he also said they could be consistent with an underlying mental health crisis. He wasn't able to assess which. No definitive answer has ever been given. There is a man, his name became public, who pleaded guilty in January 2021 to stealing Noah's rucksack on the day he disappeared. He said he found the bag near Ulster University buildings in Belfast city centre. He was jailed for 3 months. The court found no link between him and Noah's death. But here's where things get strange. CCTV, shown at the inquest, revealed that this same man had been standing outside a building on University Street as Noah cycled past shortly after leaving home. The inquest was told there was no interaction between them. His presence was described as a coincidence. Then, this same man was also connected to Noah's laptop, which ended up being pawned across the city, nowhere near where he said he found the rucksack. His barrister confirmed CCTV placed him on Botanic Avenue shortly after Noah's last confirmed sighting, clearing him from the North Belfast area. But at the inquest, this man admitted he had not been truthful with police about what he intended to do with the laptop. He acknowledged he may have planned to sell it. A woman who attempted to sell the laptop at a Belfast shop had previously been convicted in 2022 of handling stolen goods. She told the inquest that she had been with the man when he suggested selling the laptop to get money for drugs. She also said earlier statements she made to police, statements that implied she knew something about drugs and Noah, came from a single rumor in the homeless community. She felt, she said, pushed into signing a statement that went further than she actually knew. Then there's Noah's green coat. He was seen wearing it on CCTV not long before he disappeared. An eyewitness saw him apparently abandon it on the street, not picking it up after his fall, leaving it on the pavement. An anonymous call made to police 3 days after Noah disappeared claimed that a man had arrived at a house in the Victoria Parade area with a laptop, a rucksack, a green coat, and a book with Noah's name in it. That coat has never been recovered. A police officer, Constable Wari, told the inquest he had been instructed to search the flat of the man who stole the rucksack because police believed he might also have had the coat, but his contemporaneous notes made no mention of the coat. Neither did his 2 later statements. When challenged, he said he'd only become aware of the coat on the morning he appeared in court. The coroner adjourned proceedings. He called it a serious matter. Shortly after Noah's body was recovered, his Instagram account was placed into memorial status. This locked the account, preventing anyone, including his mother, from accessing it. Meta supplied the coroner with the email address used to make the memorialization request. It closely resembled the email address of a local family. Minor errors, not quite right. The family denied it. Their teenage children denied it. Nobody in their household, they told the court, had any idea how their email address had been connected to this request. The account remains memorialized. Fiona, Noah's mother, was, as her counsel put it, locked out of material she regarded as important. Meanwhile, the public search for Noah in June 2020 had been extraordinary in scale, and at times extraordinary in chaos. Hundreds of volunteers gathered. Noah's Army, a support group that has organized rallies, marches, and vigils every year since his death, formed during those early days. But some of what happened around the search was damaging. Rumors spread online that paramilitaries or pedophiles had been involved. Police confirmed at the inquest that there has never been a shred of evidence to support those claims. But the rumors were loud enough that some members of the public became hostile toward officers. A search in Linear Park was briefly halted because several hundred people had gathered, some of them confrontational. A community rescue service volunteer described some of the people at the search site as treating it like a weekend pastime. And in the midst of all of it, the real search with specialists in hazmat suits, crawling through a gas-filled underground tunnel in COVID-19 restrictions, working 12-hour shifts. There was a question that took nearly a week to be answered. Had anyone looked in the drain? Counsel for Fiona argued there had been a 12-hour delay before the culvert was checked. The search advisor said the culvert wasn't even on his radar initially. He'd only been told about a stream. He said when he returned to duty the next morning and saw the maps properly, the culvert became a priority. He said there was nothing at that stage to suggest Noah had entered the tunnel. The culvert's bars, the bars at the inlet, were wide enough for an adult to pass through. The 2017 refurbishment of the culvert had installed a debris screen, not a security screen. An expert told the inquest that the decision not to install a security screen was crucial to this case. The inquest into Noah Donohoe's death began formally in 2026, and it has delivered, week by week, a slow, uncomfortable accounting of everything that went wrong around this boy's last hours. Police missed him on CCTV. A rear-facing camera was not thoroughly reviewed. Time-stamp discrepancies were not checked. The culvert search was delayed. His coat was never found. His Instagram was locked by someone who has never been identified. A man lied about what he planned to do with Noah's laptop. An anonymous call described Noah's belongings being at a house that evening. Nobody has been charged with anything related to it. Multiple pathologists testified there was no evidence of third-party involvement. Toxicology found no drugs. The cause of death is drowning. But the cause of the drowning, why a healthy 14-year-old boy ended up naked, alone in a pitch-black storm drain in North Belfast at midnight on a Sunday in June, has never been fully resolved. Was it a mental health crisis building over days, breaking open that evening? Was it a substance, something that didn't survive in his system long enough to be detected? Was it the fall from the bicycle? A head injury that left him confused, disoriented, unable to think clearly? Was it all three? The jury at the inquest is still considering the evidence. The verdict has not yet been delivered. Noah Donohoe has spent 6 years demanding answers. She has not stopped. She set up the Noah Donohoe Foundation. She has attended every inquest hearing. She walked out of the room when the CCTV footage of her son's final minutes was shown to the jury and walked back in when it was over. Belfast City Council named a bridge after him, the Noah Donohoe Bridge over the Lagan Gateway, a route he and his mother used to walk together. He was cremated, his family said, because of his fear of the dark. And somewhere in this story, in the missed footage, the locked account, the missing coat, the black tunnel, there is still a question no verdict has fully closed. Did Noah Donohoe die alone? Or did the system that was supposed to find him fail him at every turn? The inquest is ongoing. The jury has not returned a finding. When it does, we will be here breaking it down in full. If this case matters to you, subscribe right now. This channel covers cases exactly like this, where the official version doesn't quite sit right, where families are still fighting, where the questions outlast the headlines. The button is right below this video. Noah Donohoe was 14 years old. He had a whole lifetime of love for his mother packed into 14 years. He had a mind that was curious and restless and reaching for something. He was afraid of the dark, and in the end, the dark is where he was found. Justice for Noah.